Hello, friends, and welcome to the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. We apologize for the late start, but nonetheless, we're here, and let's not waste any more time. Week 2 of the NFL started last night. Thursday Night Football, the season premiere of Thursday Night Football, exclusively on Amazon Prime Video. It was the Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Philadelphia Eagles won the game by a score of 34-28. The Eagles improved to 2-0 on the season. The Vikings dropped to 0-2. And next week, just went a little too far on that one. Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles will be on the road at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as part of a double Monday Night Football doubleheader next Monday night, whereas the Minnesota Vikings will be at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. So another tough game for Minnesota, one of the darlings of the NFL last year. But nonetheless, Philadelphia winning. And break down the quick numbers here. It spoiled a great effort by Kirk Cousins, though. I mean, Kirk Cousins came to play last night, 31 of 44, 364 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Rushing game, non-existent. Alexander Mattison only had 28 yards rushing. Justin Jefferson, 159 yards receiving. No touchdowns, believe it or not. TJ Hawkinson had 2. Jordan Addison had 1. KJ Osborne had the other. Defense played very well, too. Defense recorded 4 sacks, 3 by Danielle Hunter alone, and a half a sack for Harrison Phillips and a half a sack for Pace Jr. And Jackson had an interception. But Philadelphia just did enough. Jalen Hurts, 18 of 23, 193, a TD and a pick. DeAndre Swift, welcome to Philadelphia, 175 rushing yards and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts also had 2 rushing touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 131 yards receiving and a touchdown. Defense recorded 2 sacks. Davis and Sweat with the sacks. And Philadelphia looked like they were going to run away with it. Minnesota made a game of it late, but it was too little too late. They dug themselves too big of a hole. Philly wins 34-28. And Philly continues their march as they look to get back to the Super Bowl. After being the dominant team last year in the NFC, many consider them still the favorite in the NFC. And Minnesota, who we all know was one of the darlings last year, unfortunately, they're 0-2, and it doesn't get any easier because now they got to play the Chargers next week, even though they're at home. So looks like it could be some rough sledding some tough sledding for the Minnesota Vikings, but nonetheless, not much more to add on to it. So good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Brief thought on Minnesota and Philadelphia, the season premiere of Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime Video. Philly, they were going to run away with it. Minnesota made a game of it, but too little too late.
Yeah, they exactly as you said. They try to make a game out of it. But I will say this. The first quarter was absolutely sloppy. Both teams were making a lot of mistakes. There was a lot of turnovers, a lot of miscommunications, misplays, as we would like to say. Very uncharacteristic, but then again, it's Thursday night, so the play was going to be a little sloppy. It got better later in the game. Philly's very fortunate. 2 weeks already, they have not looked like themselves. They look like a shell of themselves, and both times they barely walk away with victories. For a team that's gone to the NFC Championship or that made it to the Super Bowl last year, I don't know, man. I'm starting to wonder if this team's even legitimate to be a threat for the NFC, especially after what I saw from the 49ers and Dallas. Philly's got to do better than that if they want to be considered a major threat for the NFC, because right now, I don't see it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, you got to say, I mean, Philadelphia is lucky to be 2-0. I mean, yes, they won both of them, but yeah, they just didn't look like that team that went to the Super Bowl last season. But mean, the offense was. I mean, it's had its moments the first 2 weeks, but I'll tell you, the defense they gotta play better, and certainly the offense can definitely use some improvement too. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, Minnesota dug themselves too much of a hole here, and yeah, so they really need to do better because I mean, if they don't, I mean, you got a whole lot of other NFC teams that could really challenge them, like the 49ers, like maybe the Dallas Cowboys, even though it's still early in the season to be saying that, but we'll see what happens. So nothing more to say. Let's get into the rest of week 2.
We started off with a matchup featuring, we're in the early games, of course, we got 8 of them. Started off with the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, exclusively on Fox. Kenny Albert. Whoop, I do apologize for that. The pop-up videos coming up. All right, we got Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Shannon Spake on the call for that one. Atlanta opening up as a 1.5 Lambeau. Their last was in 2020. Green Bay won 30-16. Last meeting in Atlanta, 2017. Atlanta won 34-23. Green Bay's last win in Atlanta was 2011, 25-14 in the old Georgia Dome. So not much more to say. Let's dive right on in to this Green Bay Atlanta matchup. While these teams haven't played since 2020 and haven't played in Atlanta since 2017, there are familiarities here. Falcons coach Arthur Smith and Packers coach Matt LaFleur worked together in 2018 in Tennessee, and Atlanta assistant coach Jerry Gray coached the Green Bay secondary the last 3 seasons. Might that help Atlanta against Green Bay's wide receivers? Gray said, if I was out there playing, it would. He won't be, although the ties between parts of both staffs should be interesting for both sides. The Packers will hold the Falcons under 100 total rushing yards. Yes, Atlanta leads the NFL in design rushing yards, 144 a game since the start of last year, but the Packer run defense might not be as bad as it looked in week 1. The unit that ranked 26 in the NFL last season gave up 122 yards rushing in week 1 to Chicago, but 59 of those yards were to quarterback Justin Fields. Green Bay actually limited the Bears to 2.8 yards per designated rush, according to ESPN stats and information. Falcons quarterback Desmond Ridder has thrown no interceptions in his first 5 career starts. He's 3-2. He could become the first quarterback to throw 0 picks in the first 6 starts since starts were first tracked in 1950. The X factor, there's 2 of them. Packer linebackers Devondre Campbell and Quay Walker. The Packers will need to stop the Atlanta run game and make Ridder throw the ball. Campbell and Walker will be key to that process. Don't underestimate the Packer defense. Even though Green Bay was not perfect there, it was much better stopping the run. Justin Fields, Deontay Foreman, Khalil Herbert, and Roschon Johnson accumulated only 3.3 yards a carry. Packers are 41-26 against the spread under Matt LaFleur, the best mark in the NFL since 2019, minimum of 40 games coached. Slight favorite for Atlanta, 52% going with Atlanta, but I got to go with Green Bay here. I think Green Bay pulls it out. I'm going to say 24-20, but I would not be surprised if Atlanta won this. So tough one to call here. So not much more to say. MF, Green Bay and Atlanta kicking off the Sunday action of week 2.
I agree. I'm going with Green Bay as well. I think what Jordan Love did was absolutely masterful. He did a very good job offensively. He was able to find his players and everything else. And remember, Christian Kirk, which is his, I think Christian Watson, who's his best receiver, was not playing. If they get him soon enough, that offense is going to get even better. I feel like they played very well. Defensively, they need to be a little more tighter in certain areas. But I'm with you, Anthony. I see a big win here for Green Bay, and I think they're gonna go 2-0. So there's really nothing more to say. And yeah, Michael, I give it to you.
Yeah, what can you say about Jordan Love? The spotlight was on him in week 1. Many people were wondering how what's he going to do against in his first start taking over for Aaron Rodgers, and I thought he looked real good. And I mean, the defense definitely could use some, could definitely get better, but I'm with everyone. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers to win this one. So let's get on to the next game, Florio.
All right, next matchup. Yeah, we go to the other side of the ledger. This game ranked in at as the number 5 game of the week on our end. It features the Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against my team, the Buffalo Bills. Home opener for Buffalo, Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. On CBS, we got Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins on the call. And excuse me one moment. Buffalo opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. The Raiders, though, lead the all-time series 21-19, but Buffalo's won the last 2 meetings. Their last meeting was 2020 in Vegas. Buffalo won 30-23. Last meeting in Buffalo, 2017. Buffalo also won that one, 34-14. The Raiders' last win in Buffalo was 2002, a 49-31 shootout there. So, MF, Vegas barely got by Denver in an ugly game in Denver last Sunday, but the Buffalo Bills, we saw it. We saw it this past Monday night, an instant classic. The stars were aligned for Buffalo to win. Leonard Floyd knocks Aaron Rodgers not only out of the game, but out for the season. You would think the stars were aligned, but then JA-17 literally had to stink up the joint. Oofa, and that's the only reason why the Jets won that game.
Yeah, no doubt. And then don't forget, overtime, Buffalo goes equivalent of a 3 and out. They punt it to the Jets, and he takes it to the house. Game over. Good night. Game over. Drive home safely, everybody. Pack up the headsets. We're going home. So, look, I get it. A lot of people is crushing JA-17, and rightfully so. He deserves the criticism for what happened, and he even openly admitted it. He went after the game. He went out to the media during his press conference and said, "That one's on me. I was the reason why we lost this game. If you want to put any blame, it's on me. I should have done better. I should have protected the football better. I made too many mistakes in that game. I thought I saw something. Thought Stefan was open for one of them. He wasn't. That's on me and everything else." And now here we go. First game of the season, JA-17 stinks up the joint, and already the whispers and the talk is starting in Buffalo. Did they make a mistake by extending the long-term contract of Allen? Was that a mistake? Should they be looking at a quarterback down the future? I know. Wrong thing to say if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. How dare I say that? But I gotta be the man that tells it like it is. I gotta be brutally honest. Allen is gonna be fine. It's the first game of the season. You know you're consistent. However, the last game against Cincinnati, this game against the Jets, 2 games back to back. Yes, I know it's a difference between the year, but both games, very lackluster, very average, not worthy of the 160 million or close to 160 mil that he got for an extension during an off season. If you're going for that, you want to be better than that. That's not it. And Buffalo knows that. That's why you hear a lot of things going on. Could it be because Brian Daboll is no longer there? Was he the reason why JA-17 was so good? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I believe it's a bounce back game. Obviously, defensively, Buffalo did fine defensively. Offense, they sputtered throughout the night. They got to get better. They got to get sharper. They got to do better. And if you're the Raiders, hey, you got yourself a lucky break. You had a big win. Jimmy Garoppolo did pretty well, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, had an interception, but they were good enough. They got to get Josh Jacobs going, though. That running attack has to get going. You cannot be one-dimensional against Buffalo, or Buffalo will eat you alive, and you know that. So, Buffalo wins. They bounce back. They'll get the victory. Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I know, yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, he admitted, like you said, after the loss to the Jets, I mean, it was all on him. I mean, the turnovers that he had, and I mean, look, I mean, I know the whispers are going out saying, is he really worth that money that the Bills paid him? I mean, because some people are saying that maybe he's starting to look like Josh Allen from his rookie year, where everybody was ready to call this guy a bust. But hold on, people, slow your roll. It's only one game. I mean, we got to see how Josh Allen does before we can further criticize him. So it's only one game. So I think this is where the Buffalo Bills bounce back. I think they're going to beat the Las Vegas Raiders, but if Vegas pulls this one out and Josh Allen has another stinker, and I'm sorry to say this, Florio, and I'm going to try to be careful with what I'm about to say about Josh Allen because I don't know how you're going to feel about this. There could be some trouble with Josh Allen if he has another stink. Because, like you said, Fledge, he had a not so good game in the divisional matchup against the Bengals. Not a good game here against the Jets. If it's if he has another stinker like this, I think it could. I mean, could it be panic time when it comes to Josh Allen? I don't know, man. So, but Buffalo wins. But Florio, as I give it to you as a Buffalo Bills fan, if Josh Allen has another stinker, I think it may be time to question Josh Allen.
It may be time to push the panic button. That's all I can say.
But it could be. I mean, many people will be saying, is Brian Dable the factor? Because he was the offensive coordinator, and look at how Josh Allen was.
Yes, and in 2019 he got. I mean, 2018 he was he was green as grass. 2019, he improved, but this decade he's been amazing. 20, 21, and 22, all great years. Not a great first game though. I mean, the stars were aligned for Buffalo to win that game against the Jets, and JA-17 was the ultimate reason. I mean, he alone committed 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, all to one guy, Jordan Whitehead, and then that costly fumble. So, but anyways, after a 4 turnover day for quarterback Josh Allen, the Bills' home opener against the Raiders is an opportunity to bounce back. Buffalo has scored 20-plus points in 11 straight home games, while the Raiders are looking to start 2-0 via 2 road wins for the first time since 1982. Raiders wide receiver Hunter Renfrow, who was shut out on the stat sheet for the first time in his career last week, will have at least 5 catches in Buffalo. The 2021 Pro Bowl slot receiver was a forgotten man in Denver, as he was not targeted once. But with All-Pro Davante Adams dealing with a foot injury and number 2 receiver Jacoby Myers suffering a concussion versus the Broncos, Renfrow will be a valuable asset for the Raiders. In his only other action against Buffalo, Renfrow had 5 catches for 57 yards in 2020. The Raiders have had 14 games decided by 1 score, 8 points or less since the start of last season, tied with the Denver Broncos for the most over that span. Their 5-9 record in 1-score games is the 6th worst in the NFL since the start of last season. The X factor, no question about it, it's Josh Allen. All he has to do is not make wild mistakes, and Buffalo should coast. But then again, that's all he needed to do Monday night, and look what happened. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing yards, 1,653, and averaged 19 fantasy points a game in 22. Now he faces a Bills defense that allowed 172 rushing yards to the Jets Monday night, which was surprising because Buffalo had one of the best run defenses in the league last season. Bills are 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games on short rest, but the FPI loves Buffalo here. 71% going with Buffalo. I concur. Buffalo bounces back. 28-17. Buffalo gets by, should get by the Raiders. And that's all I can say there. So wake up, boys. Wake up. Especially you, JA17. So that's all I'm saying. Don't turn my encouragement, my optimism for this season into discouragement, please. I don't want to go through that again, please. I've been spoiled these last few years. Come on, wake the F up and get the job done. So that's all I'm going to say there. Put it to bed. All right. Next up, our number 3 game of the week on our side of the ledger. We got a good one here. AFC North divisional matchup, as it will feature the Baltimore Ravens squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals from Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati. Of course, you can find this game over on CBS, of course. And bear with me for a moment as I find it. All right. On the call for this one will be Andrew Catalan, Tiki Barber, Matt Ryan, and AJ Ross. And the spread favors Cincinnati. Cincinnati opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. Baltimore leads the all-time series 28-26. They met 3 times last year. In the regular season, they split both meetings, both teams winning at home. So Cincinnati won in Cincinnati 27-16. And then Cincinnati defeated Baltimore in the wild card round in January 24-17. The Ravens' last win in Cincinnati was in 2020, a 38-3 beatdown. So I believe Michael Bullock gets this one first. So Michael Bullock, huge. I mean, I know it's only one game. I know it's early. I get it. But definitely big AFC North implications. Baltimore and Cincinnati meeting for the first time since that playoff game.
Yeah, and Cincinnati really needs this bounce back win because, I mean, they went into Cleveland and you wanted to. I mean, come on. I mean, you talk about Buffalo stinking up the joint. What about the Cincinnati? I mean, they really stunk up the joint against the Cleveland Browns.
Especially Joe Burrow. I mean, especially after he signed that big money contract.
Yeah, and then what did that get him? It didn't get him anything in week 1. But again, this all goes back to what I've said so many times. It's only one game into this new season. I mean, I got a feeling he'll bounce back, and I think, but Baltimore will give them fits, no doubt about it. But in the end, I do have Cincinnati bouncing back and winning this one. But if Baltimore does win this game, I would not at all be surprised. It's yours, Florio.
Like I said, I know it's early, but this one will have early AFC North implications. The Bengals are looking to avoid an 0-2 start to the season and have health and home field advantages. A Baltimore win gives the Ravens a strong start in their pursuit to end Cincinnati's 2-year run as AFC North Division champs. Lamar Jackson will run for more than 100 yards for the 13th time in his career. The Ravens will be without 2 of their best offensive linemen in left tackle Ronnie Stanley with a knee and center Tyler Linderbaum with an ankle, which means Jackson will have to scramble to get away from pressure. Last Sunday, the Bengals allowed Cleveland quarterback Deshaun Watson to rush for 45 yards on 5 carries. Jackson has a history of success running the ball against Cincinnati, averaging 83 yards rushing in 7 career games. Including the playoffs, 3 of Joe Burrow's 4 lowest total QBR games in 2022 came against the Baltimore Ravens. The X factor, Ravens backup offensive linemen Patrick McCarry and Sam Mustipher. These 2 might have to fill in for Stanley and or Linderbaum, who both suffered injuries in week 1. If they can fill in well, McCarry was pretty good last year. The Ravens should have the much better offensive line in this game. The chemistry Jackson and Zay Flowers had during training camp and the preseason carried over into the regular season. Flowers gained 54 yards after the catch, the second most in a rookie receiver's first career game since 2020. Flowers had 9 receptions for 78 yards. Lamar Jackson is 10-1-1 against the spread as a regular season underdog, 8-4 outright. Out of 330 quarterbacks to be underdogs at least 10 times in the Super Bowl era, Jackson has the second best outright record in that role behind Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who was also an underdog this week. Slate favorite to Cincinnati, 52% going with Cincinnati. I'm going to take a chance and go with Cincinnati as well. I say Cincinnati bounces back. Close game, 28-24. Cincinnati barely gets by Baltimore. So not much more to say. MF, our number 3 game of the week, Baltimore and Cincinnati. Like I said, I know it's early, but definitely some big-time AFC North implications in this one. MF, are you there?
Sorry about that. Forgot to unmute my mic. Tough give on this because of the fact that if you're a Raven fan, you're absolutely beside yourself. You're sick to your stomach right now because of the fact of what just happened. J.K. Dobbins, your best running back, is done for the season, injured. There goes your running attack. So I mean, oh my God, I feel you got to feel sick to your stomach for that guy. At the end of the day, I do believe that Baltimore it's just too big of a loss. I just don't think they're going to be able to bounce back. And again, I do see Cincinnati winning this game. It's going to be a bounce back for them. It's going to be a nice victory for them. But man, you want to talk about a tough loss for them. That is tough, man. So I can't say nothing more. Anthony, it's back to you.
Yeah. So with that, we move on to the Fox side of the ledger for our next matchup, as it will feature we will feature the Seattle Seahawks squaring off against the Detroit Lions. Home opener for the Lions, Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. First significant event there since SummerSlam last month, of course. This game over on Fox. And gentlemen, believe it or not, on the call for this game, the A-Team. Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. They will be in Detroit for this one. Seattle leads the all-time series. Well, actually, before I get into that, the spread favors Detroit 4.5 point spread for Detroit. Seattle, though, leads the all-time series 11-5. And they have won the last 5 meetings in a row against the Lions, including a wild one in Detroit last year, 48-45. Lions haven't beaten the Seahawks since 2012. That was also in Detroit, 28-24, the final there. So let's get into this one, guys. All right. If history is any indication, fans at Ford Field should be excited about what's in store for the Lions home opener. In NFL history, no 2 teams have combined for at least 80 points in 3 consecutive meetings. However, the Lions and Seahawks have a chance to do that Sunday. Last year, Seattle beat Detroit 48-45, and the year before, in 2021, Seattle also beat the Lions 51-29. But Detroit is coming off a huge win versus the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs and is looking to start 2-0 for their first time since 2017. Detroit's Aiden Hutchinson will have at least 2 sacks, and Seahawks receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba will have at least 6 catches. Hutchinson tied for the NFL lead in Week 1 with 6 pressures and now gets to face an offensive line that will likely have backups at both tackle spots. That will necessitate a quick passing game, which could mean a busy day for Smith-Njigba in the slot after the rookie first-round pick managed only 13 yards in his debut. Detroit quarterback Jared Goff's 359 consecutive passes without an interception is the 3rd longest streak in NFL history, 40 attempts shy of matching Bullock's BFF Tom Brady for 2nd. The X Factor, Seahawk wide receivers DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. This is one of the best wide receiver groups in the league, but that didn't show in Week 1. The Seahawks need the trio to step up against the Lions. Goff has performed very well at Ford Field. He has averaged 275 passing yards and about 22 fantasy points a game at home. Since 2017, the Seahawks defense has ranked near the bottom of the league in yards allowed and points against. 5 straight Seahawks games have gone under the total. The FPI loves the Detroit Lions, 65% going with the Detroit Lions. I'm going with the Detroit Lions as well. I don't know if it's going to be as high scoring as their previous encounters, but I still think Detroit wins. I'm going to say 21-20. Detroit defeats Seattle, goes 2-0 for the first time in 6 years. So not much more to say. MF, what an atmosphere it's going to be at Ford Field as the Lions come home after the biggest win for that franchise in forever and a day.
Absolutely. You can't get any better than what you got there. No doubt about it, in my mind. You gotta appreciate the love and the support that they've been getting, and yeah, um, look, there's no doubt in my mind that this team can win. There's no doubt in my mind that this team can really do something really special, and I think they will. Look, you can tell me, am I sold on the Detroit Lions? Yes, these are not the same old Lions. This is a brand new team, a brand new squad, and my goodness, did they make a difference in week number one? So for me,
Did we just lose MF?
We may have. I didn't hear him, so
He was
unless
about to give his prediction.
yes, he was. Um,
Yeah.
we'll keep a listen for MF. His audio definitely was cutting in and out, so I'm sure he got the bug here. All right, he's muted his mic, so
Yeah. So I'm just gonna. I'll just take it for
yeah,
a
yeah. We'll,
spin.
we'll just give it to Bullock until MF is ready to come back in. So Bullock, your thoughts on Seattle and Detroit? Big home opener for the Lions. I mean, can they keep that momentum going? Okay. MF, are you back in?
yeah, I don't know what happened. I thought I gave my thoughts, and it seemed like you guys didn't hear it. I had Detroit winning the game, so Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to Detroit, I mean, what can you say about what they did in Week 1? I mean, going into Kansas City in a tough environment on a night where the Chiefs raised their championship banner, and they came in and they beat the defending champions. I mean, that to me was a statement win for this Lions team, and it goes back to what I said, because remember last year they finished the season strong, and I had the feeling like maybe they could do something this season, and I'm actually sold on this team. I know that it's early on, but after what I saw on in what they did in Kansas City, I'm really sold on them. So yeah, I got the Detroit Lions winning as well and going to 2-0. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, and we move on to our next matchup, which features it's a cross flex game, a game normally you would have seen on CBS, but it's exclusive to Fox. And but if it was on our end of the ledger, it would have been the Zonk game of the week. AFC South Division matchup: the Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Houston Texans from NRG Stadium, formerly Reliance Stadium in Houston. You can find this game over on Fox, of course. You got Chris Myers, Robert Smith, and Jen Hale on the call. Houston opening up as believe it or not, Houston opening up as a 1-point favorite, guys, here. Even though Indy dominates the entire series, Indy leads the all-time series 31-10 with a tie. And that tie, ironically, came in Houston last year. They played to a 2020 tie in Houston. Indy won in Houston in 2021. Texans' last home win against the Colts was 2019. That was a 20-17 final. So I believe MF starts this one off. So MF, Indy and Houston, AFC South. It's on Fox, but if it was on our end of the ledger, this would have been the Zonk game of the week.
It would have been the Zonk game of the week. There's no doubt about it. I'm not gonna say much about this one. Look, first game out, solid performance by Indy. Yes, it was a tough luck loss because they ran into the Jacksonville Jaguars. which gave him a lot more of a fit than I think a lot of people thought it was going to be. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like, maybe this is, kind of Indy's game. Houston is a shell of themselves. They're not really that good of a squad. So I'm gonna say I believe it's gonna be the Houston. I think Jacksonville. I think Indy's gonna get the job done. So give me Indy to win this. I really got nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
And another reason why is also C.J. Stroud showed up on the injury report. So who knows what his status is going to be. But you know what? Regardless of what it is, I got Indy winning this one. I think they'll have no problems with the Houston Texans. So it's yours, Florio.
This game will feature two rookie quarterbacks drafted in the top 5 in the Texans, C.J. Stroud, and the Colts, Anthony Richardson. The last time two rookie quarterbacks drafted in the top 5 faced each other was the Jets' Zach Wilson versus the Jaguars' Trevor Lawrence in 2021. Zach Wilson led the Jets to a 26-21 win. Colts receiver Alec Pierce, after being limited to one catch for 5 yards in Indy's opener, will have a big play touchdown as the Colts look to open things up and take more downfield shots. The Colts struggled to inject life into their passing game in week 1, but Pierce and Richardson developed a clear bond during training camp. So far, that has not translated during the preseason or regular season games, but Pierce's best asset is his ability to beat defenders deep. The Stroud-Richardson duel will mark the second matchup between two starting quarterbacks under the age of 22 in NFL history, joining Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota in week 1 of 2015. X factor is Texans defensive end Will Anderson Jr. With a 31% pass rush win rate at edge in week 1, Anderson ranked in the top 10 in the category. He can be a major disruptive force to the Colts offense, even this early in his career. Nico Collins, at 165, finished week 1 with the third most air yards on targets. Philadelphia's A.J. Brown at 167 and Miami's Tyreek Hill at 236 were the only players with more. The Colts are 1-6 against the spread against division opponents since the start of last season. Slight favorite to Houston. This is the closest favorite of the week, guys. Only 51%. The FPI gives a slight edge to Houston, but I'm sorry. I got to go with Indianapolis here. I'm going to say 24-23. Indianapolis defeats Houston. All right, gentlemen, the game of the early games here. Overall, it's our number 2 game of the week when it comes to our side of the ledger. We talk about one playoff rematch, Baltimore and Cincinnati, rematch of the wild card game. How about a divisional playoff rematch? In our number 2 game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn on the call. Kansas City opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. Kansas City leads the all-time series 8-6. And this has been a one-sided series, guys, because Kansas City has owned Jacksonville. Including the playoffs, Kansas City has beaten Jacksonville 7 straight times. Last meeting, of course, the divisional playoff, Kansas City winning 27-20. Regular season, Kansas City also won. That was in Arrowhead, 27-17. Last meeting in Jacksonville was 2019, Kansas City winning 40-26. Jacksonville has not beaten Kansas City overall and at home since 2009, 24-21. Jacksonville won. So there isn't much more to say on this. So, Michael Bullock, we started with you. Number 2 game of the week on our side of the ledger, Kansas City and Jacksonville. Rematch of the AFC divisional playoff. Something's got to give here. Can Jacksonville do it 2-0? If Jacksonville wins and goes 2-0, think about this. Kansas City would be only the 5th defending Super Bowl champion to start 0-2 in the first since all the way back in 99 when Denver started 0-2. I'll have more on that in a bit. But the good news is, Bullock, Travis Kelce's coming back. That's huge for Kansas City.
Yeah, you got Travis Kelce and you got Chris Jones, who are both going to be playing in this game. So it could really, really help this the Kansas City Chiefs here. I expect them to bounce back because they're not happy after losing their opener on their home field. I expect them to to bounce back here. So I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this one. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. Okay, I'm just finding it here. Okay. How will the Jaguars handle Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce? He had 20 catches for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 2 meetings last season. Both Chiefs wins. Various players will draw Kelce at times, including linebacker Devin Lloyd and safety Andre Sisco. But the key to helping him from doing too much damage is limiting his yards after the catch. He had the 3rd most yards after catch in the NFL last season at 643. Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones will collect a couple of sacks against Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence. That seems a lot to ask in his first game since the Super Bowl, but Jones has played well against the Jaguars. He had 1.5 sacks of Lawrence during a regular season game last year, and even had the only interception and touchdown of his career against the pre-Trevor Lawrence Jacksonville team in 2018. The Chiefs are looking to avoid becoming only the 5th defending Super Bowl champion to start a season 0-2. Of the previous 4, only 1 made the playoffs, but that just happened to be the 1993 Dallas Cowboys, who went on to win their 2nd straight Super Bowl against my Buffalo Bills. The X factor is Jaguars offensive tackle Anton Harrison. The rookie posted a 71% pass block win rate in week 1, 4th worst among tackles. If the Jaguars are going to keep up with the Chiefs offense, Lawrence is going to need better protection. The Chiefs are normally disciplined, but they were sloppy against the Lions. There were multiple instances when players blocked the same player or ran into each other while running routes. The Chiefs finished with 4 drops against the Lions, the most in any game since Patrick Mahomes has been the starting quarterback. Jaguars are 5-0 outright as home underdogs under coach Doug Peterson, including the playoffs. The FPI likes Kansas City in this one, 61% going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. This has the potential to be a game of the week here. Kansas City wins 38-34. Kansas City gets by Jacksonville, bounces back. So there isn't much more to say. MF, if it wasn't for the game that we have on our end of the ledger, this would have been our game of the week here. Kansas City and Jacksonville, first time since the divisional playoff. Number 2 game of the week in Jacksonville, home opener. Jags looking to go 2-0, but the Chiefs, MF, they're trying to avoid becoming the first defending Super Bowl champs since the '99 Broncos to start 0-2. The other, if you're wondering who the previous teams were, they were the 1982 San Francisco 49ers, 1987 New York Giants, 1993 Dallas Cowboys, 1999 Denver Broncos. The only 4 defending Super Bowl champs ever to start a season 0-2. Kansas City looking to avoid becoming the 5th. So, MF, if you're ready, let's bring you on in for your thoughts on this one. Number 2 game of the week, KC and Jacksonville. If not for the game we had, this would have been our game of the week. What a matchup here.
This would have been the game of the week, and this is going to be a heck of a matchup, to say the very least. Look, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, why are we picking Kansas? Why are we picking Kansas City? Why is Kansas City the favorite?" The reason why they're the favorites is because it's simple, guys. What Kansas City did, look, the first game you got to give them a little bit of a pushback there, because there was an injury, there was some bad stuff, some unfortunate things that happened in that game that I know a lot of people would be like, oh, they should have been able to bounce back. Yeah, well, guess what? They didn't. But Jacksonville looked pretty good, but it wasn't really the best performance. Now you're going up against a KC squad that will have Travis Kelce, that will have Chris Jones. They're back. So this is going to get interesting now. So we'll see how it plays out. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think Kansas City wins it. Anthony, next game.
All right, guys, 2 early games left, and we start the next one with a renewal of an old NFC Central Division rivalry. We got the Chicago Bears taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Game on Fox, and on the call for that one will be Joe Davis, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Pam Oliver. The spread favors Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Tampa Bay leads the all-time Chicago, I should say, leads the all-time series 40-21. Their last meeting was 2 years ago in Tampa. Tampa won going away 38-3. Chicago has not won in Tampa Bay since 2005. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 2015. 2015. That's the last time Chicago won in Tampa, 26-21. Their overall last win was 2020 in Chicago, 20-19. So I believe I start this one off. So let's get into this. Just trying to find it here. Okay. While the Bears are struggling to figure out what happened in their dismal season opening loss to the Packers, with Justin Fields admitting he was quote unquote a little bit too conservative, the Bucs are hoping to replicate last week's stunning road win over Minnesota while adding a little more offensive firepower. Yes, the Bucs scored 2 touchdowns and had 2 field goals, but the defense contributed 3 takeaways, and the Vikings had a litany of penalties. 1 week after being targeted on 5.3% of his team-high 38 routes ran against the Packers, Bears wide receiver DJ Moore will connect with Fields on a deep ball touchdown and lead his team in receiving with 80 or more yards. Moore has never caught a touchdown when facing Tampa Bay cornerbacks Carlton Davis III and Jamel Dean in coverage. He will end that streak and show up as a featured part of Chicago's offensive attack. Quarterback Baker Mayfield won his debut with the Buccaneers last week. He is seeking to join Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2017, Rob Johnson in 2002, and Sean King in 1999 as the only Buccaneers quarterbacks to win their first 2 starts with the team. X factor is Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson. He's off to a nice start to his 2023 campaign, allowing just 13 yards over 27 coverage snaps in week 1 against Green Bay, per NFL Next Gen stats. With Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as his top 2 receivers, Mayfield is a solid streamer in deeper formats. Evans and Godwin have both played in 85 of 99 possible games, and the Buccaneers quarterback group has averaged 18 fantasy points in those games. Evans and Godwin are also obviously solid starts and should exploit the Bears secondary. Justin Fields is 8-17-1 against the spread in his career, second worst record among quarterbacks to start at least 25 games in Super Bowl era. Only Colt McCoy was worse. And Fields is 1-6-1 against the spread when the line falls between +3 and -3. Slight favorite is Tampa Bay in the FPI. Tampa Bay only a 52% favorite. But I'm actually going to go with Tampa Bay to win this game. My final score is going to be 24-21. Tampa Bay starts 2-0 and defeats Chicago. MF, who had Tampa Bay starting 2-0? I certainly didn't.
Neither did I, and I totally agree. I think Chicago's just a little bit of a shell of themselves. I don't think they really have a good, I think it's just been unfortunate to say the very least, and there's really nothing more to say. So yeah, I'm with you here, Anthony. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well. So Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you guys as well. I gotta go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one. Yeah, yeah, Chicago. I mean, what? Yeah, just wasn't all that impressed with their performance. But Tampa going into Minnesota last week and beating the Vikings, so that's impressive enough. So yeah, I got Tampa Bay winning this one. So let's move on.
Final early game, and keep in mind, it's the de facto zonk game of the week on our end, only because of the records, of course. Both of these teams are 0-1. One team will win, the other will start 0-2, and we got two solid good teams here. It's the Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Tennessee Titans from Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Game on CBS. Tom McCarthy, James Lofton, Jay Feely, Tiffany Blackman on the call. Chargers opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Chargers lead the all-time series 28-15 with a tie. The one tie was all the way back in 1970. They played to a 31-all tie in San Diego. They met last year in LA. Chargers won 17-14. Last meeting in Nashville, 2019. Tennessee won 23-20. Chargers last won in Tennessee back in 2009, 42-17 beatdown. I think that was a holiday Christmas game or something like that. So not much more to say here. MF, de facto zonk game of the week, even though these two teams are solid teams, but it's only because of the records. Both of these teams are 0-1. Something's got to give here. One team will get in the win column. The other will unfortunately start 0-2 and have a long road to the postseason. So MF, your thoughts? Chargers, Titans, de facto zonk game of the week.
Yeah, and the thing is that the Chargers got their hearts ripped out from the Miami Dolphins. We'll get into Miami in a little bit. that was a tough, tough, tough loss for them. And then as far as the Titans go, they just I don't even know what to even say about their performance. They just didn't really get the opportunities that they were looking for. They had a couple of good moments, but not so great, and it just turned out to be a disaster. So, yeah, some tough breaks going both ways, but it is what it is, man. Sometimes this happens in the NFL, and if you can play it, you can do it. And unfortunately for them, this was not meant to be. So yeah, at the end of the day, we had some big losses, big wins, big outcomes, whatever you want to say. We'll see how it plays out. But one thing is for sure, the Titans. I think the Chargers will bounce back. I saw something in them that really looks like they look very promising. So there's really nothing more to add. Anthony, Michael Bullock, I give it to you. Give me the Chargers to win.
Yeah, what can you say? I mean, the Chargers just literally had their hearts ripped out of them by the Miami Dolphins. So, and then like you said with the Titans, I mean, I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah, not good starts for both sides. But in the end, I got the Chargers bouncing back and winning this one. So, it is yours, Florio.
All right. In their first game under new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, the Chargers showed a dedication to running the football last week with 40 carries for 234 yards, their highest total since week 6 of 2018. They'll be tested against the Titans, who allowed only 69 rushing yards last week against the Saints. Tennessee prides itself on stopping the run. The Titans don't anticipate LA running the ball 40 times this week, but if it does, Tennessee will be ready. Jeffrey Simmons said, "Our mindset is nobody will run the ball on us." Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams will each have 100 yards receiving. The Titans are banged up in the secondary. Safety Amani Hooker is recovering from a concussion, and cornerback Christian Fulton is limited because of a hamstring injury. And that's a bad development for a defense that will have to respect all aspects of a balanced Charger offense. Play action will help Allen and Williams become the first LA duo to top 100 yards receiving in the same game since Allen and running back Melvin Gordon III against Kansas City in the 2018 season opener. Tennessee running back Derrick Henry has recorded 5 straight games of 100-plus scrimmage yards. He is 1 game shy of tying the longest streak of his career, done twice. X factor is Titans outside linebacker Harold Landry III. He had just a 5% pass rush win rate at edge in week 1, but he was also going against an excellent tackle in Ryan Ramczyk. There's a big difference in the Titans pass rush if Landry is back to his old self. This will be a good test. Last season, the Titans secondary allowed 275 passing yards a game, the most in the league. Against the Saints last week, Tennessee's defense looked like it did in 2022. Just imagine what Justin Herbert will do against them. Allen and Williams should also be in your fantasy lineups. Chargers are 8-1-3 against the spread in the last 12 meetings with the Titans. FPI likes the Chargers, 63% going with the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers as well. 27-20, Chargers over the Titans. So, late games, gentlemen. Let's get into the late games. We got 4 of them. And we started off with the first of 2 405 games on Fox. And we renew another old division rivalry, a former NFC East division rivalry, as it will be the New York Giants squaring off against the Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. You can find this game over on Fox, and on the call for that one will be Anna Mamine, Mark Schlereth, and Christina Pink. The Giants opening up as 4-point favorites. Giants, it's a one-sided rivalry. Giants lead the all-time series 80-46 with 2 ties. Their last meeting was in 2020 in New York. Arizona won 26-7. Arizona's actually won the last 4 meetings against the Giants, guys, including the last one in Arizona, 2017. Cardinals won that 23-0. Giants' last win overall and at Arizona was in 2011. 31-27 was the final there. So I believe this one. Just give me one more. I believe this one goes to Michael Bullock. So Michael Bullock, Giants, Arizona, kicking off the late games.
Yeah, I mean, for the Giants, I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, they got embarrassed. They got humiliated on Sunday Night Football, basically getting squashed by the Dallas Cowboys 40-0. I mean, that was pretty bad. I mean, for a team that went to the playoffs last season, got to the divisional round, and for them to literally stink up the joint like they did, that is just, that's not cool. But I think this is going to be a bounce back game for them. I mean, look, the Cardinals are just not the same without Kyler Murray here. So I got the Giants winning this one. I got them bouncing back. So it's yours, Florio.
Both teams are looking for their first win and are desperate to score points after neither offense scored a touchdown in Week 1. Arizona quarterback Joshua Dobbs said this week the Cardinals' offense is night and day compared to where it was a week ago. Meanwhile, the key for the Giants' offense might be the run game. In 2022, 53% of their touchdowns came on rushes, third highest rate in the NFL, while the Cardinals have allowed 22 rushing touchdowns since the start of 2022, tied for the fourth most. Giants defense will force 3 turnovers. Dobbs fumbled 3 times and lost 2 in the Week 1 loss to Washington. He did not throw an interception, but had the NFL's highest percentage of tight window passes, 27% per NFL Next Gen stats. There should be plenty of opportunity for Wink Martindale's pressure-heavy defense to make some plays in this one. The Cardinals have won 4 straight games against the Giants, their second longest win streak all time versus New York. They won 7 straight from 1974 to 77 when the Cardinals were in St. Louis. X Factor, Giants wide receivers Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins. These two combined for 39 receiving yards in the Giants' Week 1 fiasco against the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants' passing attack is going to need more than just tight end Darren Waller. New York quarterback Daniel Jones was under pressure on nearly 70% of his dropbacks against the Cowboys in Week 1. It is imperative that the Giants fix their offensive line. New York currently ranks 26th in pass block win rate. Giants had only 4 plays, gained 10-plus yards, the fewest in the league. Giants are 6-0 against the spread after a loss under coach Brian Daboll. FPI loves the Giants here, 65% going with the Giants. I'm going with the Giants. Get right game for them. 30-10, Giants all over Arizona. So not much more to say here. MF, you want to talk about, JA-17 stinking up the joint, Cincinnati stinking up the joint. No team stunk up the joint more last week than the New York Giants.
Oh, my God. Poor Molly Karam. She's a diehard New York Giant fan, and that was a massacre. That was horrible what we saw. Even Kaiser Butler, she's a diehard Giants fan. She loves Saquon Barkley, and she turned the game off halfway through. She was so mad at the way that the Giants got blown out. It was a massacre. So yeah, they got to turn this around. It's a now or never type thing. So nothing more to say. We'll wait and see how it plays out. But yep, we're right back in it. So I think the Giants will bounce back, like you said, Anthony, and nothing more. So let's move on.
The other 405 game on Fox. You could say this is the de facto game of the week on the NFC side of the ledger. The San Francisco 49ers squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, home opener for the Rams. Game on Fox, Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, Laura Oakman. Spread favors San Francisco. San Francisco opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. San Francisco leads the all-time series 76-67 with 3 ties. San Francisco swept the season series last year. They won in LA 31-14. The Rams' last win against the Niners at home was the NFC Championship game in January of 22. Their last regular season win at home against the 49ers, you got to go all the way back to 2000. Well, actually, it was 2018 when they won 48-32. So I believe this one goes to me to start it. So let's start it off. 49ers have won 8 consecutive regular season games against the Rams, part of Coach Kyle Shanahan's 9-4 record, including the playoffs against Rams coach Sean McVay. Last matchup in Week 8 last season at SoFi was Christian McCaffrey's second game with San Francisco after he was traded from Carolina. He passed for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown pass, and he could be a big factor in this game. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk will go over 100 receiving yards and score 2 touchdowns for the second consecutive week. Ayuk has never had 2 straight games with 100-plus receiving yards, but the Rams don't have cornerback Jalen Ramsey at the moment, and will have to figure out how to match up against Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and the rest of the Niners playmakers. That means Ayuk should have plenty of one-on-one opportunities. Matthew Stafford had no passing touchdowns last week against Seattle. His third such game since joining the Rams. He has gone consecutive games with 0 passing touchdowns only 4 times in his career. The last time was weeks 3 to 4 of last season. The X factor, Rams wide receivers Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. They were amazing last week with 119 yards apiece. The Rams are absolutely going to give up points to the 49ers, so their only hope is to keep up and have their 2 young receivers come close to a repeat performance. Niners quarterback Brock Purdy has the second highest passer rating in his first 6 starts in the Super Bowl era, 117.5, behind only Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, 131.5. He has thrown multiple touchdown passes in all 6 games. Look no further if you need a quarterback streamer, as Purdy has upcoming games against the Rams, Giants, and Cardinals. Purdy is 8-1 outright and 7-2 against the spread as the 49ers starter, including playoffs. FPI loves San Francisco, 66% going with the Niners. I'm going with the Niners, 34-20. San Francisco wins. So, MF, San Fran, and the Rams, de facto game of the week for Fox.
De facto game of the week for the Fox, but the thing is that my prediction is going to be the same like you guys. I just see the Niners just rolling. I just don't see them being stopped right now. They're the hottest team in the NFL. They put everybody on notice, and we were like, holy freaking crap! This is amazing. This team is the real deal, and I believe they are the real deal. So yeah, give me the Niners once again to outduel and win yet another one and continue their march. So nothing more to say. Bullock, it is yours.
Bullock, are you there?
Oh, what game are we talking about?
San Francisco and the Rams.
Yeah, I got the 49ers beating the Rams here, no doubt about it. I mean their defense, they continue to play well, and I expect the defense, especially led by Nick Bosa, and the offense, I expect them to continue to play well too. So I got 49ers winning. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, we got 4 games left. We have 2 more late games before we get to the big Buddy Bowl matchup, which I know you guys are chomping at the bits. We'll get to it soon enough. All right. 2 4:25 games on CBS, and we started off with, for me and MF, the Tony and Mikey game of the week. The New York Jets squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, Jerry World. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson on the call. Dallas opening up as a 9-point favorite. Dallas leads the all-time series 7-5. The Jets, however, have won the last 3 meetings against Dallas, including the last one in Dallas, 2015. Jets actually won 1916. Cowboys' last win against the Jets at home and overall was in 2007, 34-3 beatdown. So I believe this one goes to good old MF Michael Fletcher. So MF, it's only fitting. The Phil Sims to my Jim Nantz, of course. This is our game of the week. The Jets, they lost Aaron Rodgers. Leonard Floyd knocked him out. The stars were aligned for Buffalo to win that game. But thanks to JA-17 stinking up the joint, the Jets scored a lucky win. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys kicked down the door at MetLife Stadium, made themselves at home, 40-0, beat down the Giants on Sunday night. So there isn't anything left for me to say except do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more interesting to see how it does, because now we gotta see what the Jets are gonna look like. It's no longer about what Buffalo's gonna do. What Dallas is gonna do. It's really now, what are the Jets gonna do? Because now you got to rely on a different quarterback. You're literally now relying on one of your best, and we're talking about a true star. When we're talking about Zach Wilson, a lot of people wondered if he's going to be the guy, but They gotta figure it out. They need to do something here that's gonna get them back into the game. Uh, Dallas, and the thing was, Dallas's offense was not the best. Their D really dominated this game against the Giants, and Dak Prescott had a pedestrian day. But then again, he didn't need to be the star. He did what they needed to do. They got the job done. They won the game. I just feel like now is the moment where Dallas proves to the NFL that that was not a fluke and they are a Super Bowl contender. The Jets lost that Super Bowl contender status when Aaron Rodgers went down a week ago, and I don't think they will recover. I got the Dallas Cowboys knocking off the New York Jets. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Dallas Cowboys beating the Jets as well. I mean, it's gonna be a tough goal. I mean, the thing is, what can we expect out of Zach Wilson? I mean, he he's the guy now, and to be quite honest with you guys, I don't trust him. I mean, yes, he's had some moments, but the guy turns the ball over, and he. The thing is, he's still got weapons, but he's still got a good defense. But the thing is, after that impressive performance by the Dallas Cowboys, I just think it's going to be a tough thing for the Jets to overcome. So I got Dallas winning this one as well. So it's yours, Florio.
It's not coach versus quarterback anymore, with Aaron Rodgers' season ending injury taking some of the shine off this contest. But it does feature two of the best defenses in the NFL. Rodgers' old coach, Mike McCarthy, will have to be on top of his game as the play caller against the Jets defense that limited Buffalo's Josh Allen last week. But week 2 has been kind to Dallas as of late. They have won 5 straight games in the second week of the season and 8 of their last 10. The last time the Jets started 2-0 was 2015. Cowboys coming off a 7-sack opener will sack Zach Wilson at least 6 times. Wilson tends to hold the ball too long. His 3.29 second release time in week 1 was the slowest among qualified passers. The Jets' offensive line isn't good enough to hold their blocks that long, especially against Micah Parsons and company. Cowboys led all teams with a 52% pressure percentage in week 1, while the Jets allowed 35% in week 1. The NFL average was 30.5%. The X factor, who else but Zach Wilson? Who else could it be, guys? This game will swing on his performance. If he plays at an average NFL starter level, the Jets will have a fighting chance, but average NFL starter is a lot better than what Wilson has been in his career. Jets offensive line ranked last in pass block win rate, but ranked 15th in run block win rate. Running backs Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall could receive a lot of touches in this one. Zach Wilson's last 7 starts have gone under the total. Overall, the Jets were 5-4 against the spread, with unders going 7-2 in Wilson starts last season. FPI loves Dallas, 68% going with Dallas. I'm going with Dallas, 26-13. Dallas wins. The other 425 game, the final 8 game, it's our number 7 game of the week. The Washington Commanders squaring off against the Denver Broncos in Power Field at Mile High in Denver. On CBS, Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkabwala will be on the call. Denver opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. And Denver, I believe it's Denver who leads the all-time series with Washington. Yes, Denver leads the all-time series 8-6. Denver, their last meeting was 2 years ago in Denver. Denver won 17-10. Washington hasn't won in Denver since all the way back in 2001. That was a 17-10 final. That was when in Power Field, I believe, opened, or it might have been the year before. I don't know, but nonetheless, I believe this one goes to Michael Bullock to start. So Bullock, Washington, and Denver to round out the late games.
Yeah, I got I got Denver winning this one, but would I be surprised if the Commanders come out and win this one? I wouldn't be surprised, but to me, I just think Denver barely ekes this one out, so it's yours, Florio.
Yep. A Broncos offense that has scored 16 or fewer points in 12 of its last 18 games, including a week 1 loss to the Vegas Raiders, is going to have to figure out a way to carve out some yards against Washington's physical defensive front. Commanders defensive tackles Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen combined for 4 tackles for loss against Arizona, and defensive end Montez Sweat used that room to work for 1.5 sacks. If the Broncos can't control the point of attack enough to finish drives with touchdowns, the Commanders could start off 2-0. Neither offense will surpass 300 yards for a second consecutive week. For Denver's offense, it's about quarterback Russell Wilson, lacking playmakers at the skill positions with receiver Jerry Jeudy still ailing and others out, while facing one of the league's top defenses. Broncos operate a ball control attack. For Washington, it's about quarterback Sam Howell making his 3rd start and first on the road behind the line, still trying to mesh in a new offense. Sam Howell is looking to become the first player in NFL history to record a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown in his first 3 career games. X factor is Broncos defensive tackle Zach Allen. Denver did not get much of a pass rush going last week, 25% pass rush win rate, ranked 31st. But Allen has a chance to be a disruptive force against what looks like a weak interior Commanders offensive line, at least on paper. Jerry Jeudy appears on track to make his season debut against the Commanders on Sunday. In week 1, Wilson showed improvement against the Raiders, which could bode well for Jeudy, who averaged 7.5 targets and 18.5 fantasy points a game from weeks 13 to 18 last year. Broncos are 1-7 against the spread as favorites since the start of last season, and they are 12-25-2 against the spread in that role since 2017. FPI likes Denver, 66%. I think Denver wins as well. I think they'll bounce back. 24-17, Denver over Washington. MF, your thoughts?
I got Denver as well. I kind of feel like they're just gonna have just enough oomph just to get to the finish line. That doesn't necessarily mean that I truly believe that they're gonna wow people here. I just feel like they're just gonna have just enough to get by and to win this game. So that's my call. So, well, here we go, Floyo. I believe it's time.
It is. Buddy Bowl time, gentlemen. Yes, sir. Oh, we've been waiting for this one. I know you two guys have been chomping at the bits for this one. I know we're going to be interested in all the games, but I know you two, this is the game that you're going to have the most vested interest in. Sunday Night Football on NBC, 8:20 p.m. It is good old MF, Michael Fletcher, and his Miami Dolphins squaring off against Michael Bullock and his New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark, they will have the call. Miami opening up as a 3-point favorite, and we know the history. A lot of history between these two legendary AFC East Division rivals. Miami leads the all-time series 59-53. They split last year. Miami winning in Miami. New England winning in New England. New England actually beat Miami last year 23-21 in Foxborough, snapping a 2-year Miami's last win in New England was the year before in 2021, 17-16. So, gentlemen, think about it while I set the table for it. It's our number 4 game of the week overall, so on our side of the ledger. So here we go. The Dolphins gave up 234 rushing yards in their season-opening win over the LA Chargers, but the Patriots' running game was not effective in their season-opening loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. 22 carries, 76 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. Which unit rectifies those issues will be telling, with Patriots center David Andrews saying, quote, "That's something we can improve on, but Miami has a really good front, so it's going to be a big challenge." Christian Wilkins leads the league in tackles every year from the D-tackle position. Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has never lost to the Patriots, so predicting a win is not that bold of a statement. However, he has yet to throw for more than 300 yards against Bill Belichick's defense. So let's get bold and say Tagovailoa hits that mark and then some. The AFC's Offensive Player of the Week will build on his Week 1 performance and throw for 350 yards and 3 scores as the Dolphins start the season 2-0. The Patriots played zone defense 77.5% of the time against the Dolphins last year. Tagovailoa ranks first in yards per attempt, 9, and is tied for third in passing touchdowns, 11, against zone coverage since last season. The X factor, this one's for you, Bullock. Patriots cornerback Jonathan Jones. If the Patriots successfully slow down Miami's incredible passing attack, it probably means Jones has a good game. Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, Tyreek Hill, MF, listen to this, led all players last week with 44.5 points against the LA Chargers. Since 2018, he has led all players in fantasy points 5 times, tied with New Orleans' Alvin Kamara for the most. Hill has averaged 8.8 targets and 92 receiving yards in 6 career regular season games against the New England Patriots. Patriots are 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 games as an underdog. The FPI likes Miami, 62% going with the Miami Dolphins. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins to win this game. Sorry, Bullock. 30-27, Miami knocks off New England in this primetime showdown in Foxborough, despite the fact that the New England Patriots will be rocking their legendary throwback red uniforms from their Pat Patriot days. And I'm sure Bullock will have something to say about that in a little bit. But nonetheless, I got the Miami Dolphins winning. Should be a great game. 30-27. Should be a great game in Foxborough Sunday night. Number 4 game of the week. So not much more to say. MF, Dolphins, Patriots. Patriots dug themselves an early hole against Philly. Made a game of it. Almost pulled it out, but came up just a little short. But MF, you're Miami Dolphins. Oh, my goodness. What can you say? What a game. 5-star classic. Game of the week. A week ago against the LA Chargers. They put on a show at SoFi. And like I said in the messenger chat to you, your boys Tua and Tyreek, straight fire.
They were, and I gotta say, if they play like that, there's nobody stopping Miami. I mean, just be realistic. We gotta do better with the run attack as well, because we put a lot of stock in that run attack, and Mike McDaniel did too, and we kind of abandoned the run early on. Tua just absolutely was insane. He was unconscious early on. He was trying to thread the needle. I think he was trying to go too much, too hard, too fast, and almost blew the game on us. But then Miami just kind of calmed down, started playing, the way that they're supposed to be playing, and that's why they got themselves not only in a good position, but dominated and won the game the way that they won it. So the Miami Dolphins definitely opened a lot of people's eyes, and that's why you heard a lot of people saying, oh, Miami's probably a favorite now. I don't want to do that. I don't want to start that conversation. Yes, I like it, and I even appreciate and love all the love that we're getting. But the thing was, and even the Dolphins are going to admit this, you guys were throwing so much shade, so much disrespect, and so much hatred towards our team earlier in the year before the even season got started. You didn't even have Miami as a legitimate threat. You guys had us missing the playoffs, coming in 3rd place in the division. Because the whole time leading into the preseason, it was about the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. So we had something to prove. And now all of a sudden you're on our side. All of a sudden you're jumping on the bandwagon. No. Get the hell out of the bandwagon. You didn't guys not want to ride with us at the beginning. You don't deserve to be in that bandwagon. Get the hell out. Now it's time that we make a statement to the NFL that we're not a one-trick pony, and that we are a legitimate threat, and that we deserve to be taken seriously in the AFC. So, I mean, look, I know what New England's going to bring to the table. I know what they're going to do to us. Because of the fact that, what does Bill Belichick do? He always likes to take the biggest threat that we got and limit us. That means, Tyreek, you're probably going to get put in shackles the whole night. Which means River Craycraft, Durham Smythe, Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios, Raheem Mostert, and Devin A-Chain, and all you boys, be on alert, because you will be, you're going to become the center point of our team, because they're going to try to take Tyreek out of this game, which is a smart move if you're New England. If you're Miami, defensively, we got to lock down early, which means Vic Fangio, I know you loved the man-to-man. I know you loved playing the zone defense, but that got us killed in the run attack. We got absolutely blitzed run attack. It's time we blitz. It's time we bring the pressure, bring the lumber. And let me tell you, that O-line for the New England Patriots, they're hurt right now. There's a couple of guys who might not play. You know what that means? Bring the house. Bring in the Mac Jones. Rough him up early and often and take that crowd away. I've been to Gillette many times. I know how that crowd gets when the Patriots are alive. It is loud. It is deafening. It is unbelievable. Trust me, I've seen the crowd go silent when the year that Miami beat New England and prevented them to get that playoff bye. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. 70-something thousand, silent as a freaking mouse. The only noise you were hearing was from Miami Dolphin fans because there was a lot of them in that stadium that night. It will happen again. Miami will win. It's gonna be a close fight. This is gonna be knockdown, drag out, typical AFC Eastern Division battle. You thought Buffalo and the Jets was good? I think New England and Miami's gonna live up to that hype of the AFC battle, of that war between the AFC Eastern divisions. So this could be a one-score game. I say 27-21. Miami sneaks out and gets the win. But, man, there's only one thing I need to say. That freaking Gillette Stadium was a house of horrors for the Miami Dolphins for a number of years. But ever since Tua has been the starter, he's been undefeated, has not lost in that stadium. And I know Tua is ready for this game. He's heard all the hype, but he's level-headed. He's been calm. He's been cool. I'm telling you guys, Teron Armstead is coming back. He will play on Sunday, is what I've been told. The biggest worry now I got is Jalen Phillips. I heard he hurt his back in practice, so I'm a little worried that we might not have Jalen Phillips. If we don't have him, that might hurt Miami's defense because he's our lead linebacker. So we might lose our top linebacker in there. That might cause some problems. That got me a little nervy when I heard that news today, because that news came out today. So we'll see. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully he'll be able to go on Sunday. Whoo! Mike, this is going to be a war, man. Good luck, brother. May the best team win.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there, Fletch. May the best team win, and it's definitely going to be one heck of a matchup. And you know that Gillette Stadium crowd's going to be rocking, with it being Sunday Night Football, wearing the throwback uniforms. I mean, those are freaking cool when they wear them. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, Belichick's, he's going to take away Tyreek Hill. So for the Dolphins, they need other guys to step up. But it's also up to that Patriots defense to really, if they can keep this game close going into the fourth quarter, I think they could have a chance. But like you said, the key is this offensive line for the Patriots. I mean, the injury bug has really bit them. But also, the running game needs to be a lot better than what we saw in week 1. So, do I want to see the Patriots win this game? Absolutely, I do. But the Dolphins are the better team here, so I'm going to go ahead and make it unanimous. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins to win this one as well. But if the Patriots win, I would not at all be surprised. So, that being said, Florio, we got a Monday Night Football doubleheader.
Indeed, we do. 2 games will be on at the same time, but one will be starting a little earlier than the other. This game will be kicking off at 7:50 during the New Orleans Saints squaring off against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina's home opener, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. How about this for a crew here? Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick, and Laura Rutledge. They will be on the call. New Orleans opening up as a 3-point favorite. The series is tied, guys. It's 28-28. Carolina won both meetings last year, including in Charlotte, 22-14. Saints' last win in Charlotte was 2020, 33-7. Carolina's won the last two meetings in Charlotte, so not much more to say. Yep, Michael Bullock has left us for the night. So
it's all good. It's just you and I. We got it. We got this, kid. We got it.
Yep, we sure do. So I do believe I believe that you were going to start it anyway. So
yeah.
So MF, New Orleans and Carolina, NFC South divisional matchup kicking off a Monday Night Football at the same time doubleheader.
Well, I gotta go with New Orleans too because of the fact that I feel like the Saints are. I think they finally found their guy. You know, I know a lot of people were wondering, oh, are they going to find their? I think they found their guy. I think they found their reliable quarterback. I think that they're going to win this game. And Carolina, I don't know, man. They're just up and down. They're inconsistent. And I feel like defensively they're better. If their offense gets better, and I mean New Orleans, they might have something really special down the pipeline. So give me the Saints to win this game. Anthony, it's yours, man.
This game could come down to explosive passing plays. The Saints had 7 in their opening day win against Tennessee that allowed quarterback Derek Carr to throw for 305 yards. He'll face a Carolina defense without starting cornerback J.C. Horn with a hamstring, who's out indefinitely. In Week 1, the Panthers were one of 2 teams, along with Cincinnati, that had no passes of at least 15 yards and both lost. Rookie quarterback Bryce Young took part of the blame. He was only 2 of 10 on passes of 10 yards or more. Saints defense will hold the Panthers to 20 points or fewer, extending the franchise streak to a record 10 games in a row. The Panthers scored only 10 points in a loss to Atlanta last week, while the Saints defense put on one of its best performances against the Titans, finishing with 3 sacks and 3 interceptions. There's potential for a repeat performance against Young, who's making his second career start. With a loss or a tie, Bryce Young would be the 5th quarterback out of the last 6 taken number 1 overall to go winless in each of his first 2 career starts. X factor is Saints offensive tackle Trevor Penning. He was by far the worst pass protecting tackle in the league in Week 1 in pass block win rate, 66%. Now he'll face Panthers edge rusher Justin Houston. The Saints need more from Penning. Derek Carr completed nearly 70% of his passes for 305 yards, a touchdown, and an interception for New Orleans. It's notable because New Orleans had only 2 games with 300-plus passing yards last season. Carr should be in a prime position to exploit a Panthers secondary that will be without Horn, the number 1 cornerback. The Saints' last 9 games with extra rest have gone under the total. New Orleans, FPI favorites, 61%, going with New Orleans. I'm going with New Orleans as well. 24-21, New Orleans over Carolina. Final game of the night, the other half of that Monday Night Football doubleheader. This game will be over on ESPN. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention New Orleans and Carolina. For those of you in the New Orleans and Carolina areas, listen to this. New Orleans, the game will actually be simulcast on WDSU NBC Channel 6. And for Charlotte, Carolina, the game will be simulcast on WAXN 64. It's an independent channel. So just wanted to throw that out there. Final game of the night, the other half of the Monday Night Football doubleheader, 8:15 kickoff over on ABC. It'll feature an AFC North divisional matchup. The Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters on the call. Cleveland opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. And we know the history of these two legendary rivals. Pittsburgh leads it 78-61 with a tie. That tie was in 2018, of course. Both teams split last year. Pittsburgh winning in Pittsburgh 28-14. The Cleveland Browns have not won a regular season football game in Pittsburgh since all the way back in 2003. 33-13 on a Sunday night. Overall, though, they actually did win in Pittsburgh that wild playoff game, January of 21, 48-37. MF and I had a lot of fun with that one. But anyways, let's get to our final game of the night. Since he was drafted by the Browns in 2018, running back Nick Chubb's performance has been a bellwether for this game. Steelers are 5-0-1 when they hold Chubb to fewer than 80 rushing yards and 0-3 when he gains more than 80. In the Steelers' Week 1 loss to the 49ers, running back Christian McCaffrey went for 152 yards and averaged almost 7 yards a carry. While Chubb and McCaffrey are different types of backs, the task of slowing Chubb becomes even more difficult with All-Pro defensive lineman Cameron Hayward placed on injured reserve because of a groin injury that required surgery. Browns' dynamic pass rushing duo of Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith will sack Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett 5 times. With defense leading the way again, Cleveland will win its first regular season game in Pittsburgh in 20 years and start 2-0. Since 2007, Mike Tomlin's first season as Steelers coach, Browns quarterbacks rank last in completion percentage, last in yards per dropback, and 4th lowest in QBR against Pittsburgh of any division matchup, 96 total. X factor is Browns right tackle DeJuan Jones. The rookie came in for the injured Jack Conklin in Week 1 and performed well, with a 100% pass block win rate and 71% run block win rate, slightly below average as a fill-in. But now he has to face TJ Watt, who had 3 sacks in Week 1. Nick Chubb ran for 100-plus yards for the 30th time in his career against the Bengals last week. Only Tennessee's Derrick Henry at 34 and New England's Ezekiel Elliott at 30 have had 30 or more 100-yard rushing games, 30 or more 100-yard rushing games in the last 10 seasons. Chubb has averaged 73 rushing yards a game in 9 career games against the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, 5-1 against the spread against Browns coach Kevin Stefanski. But Cleveland is getting the love here. 60% going with the Cleveland Browns to win this game. And guess what? I'm going with the Cleveland Browns to win this game as well. 23-13, Cleveland defeats Pittsburgh in what will be our number 6 game of the week on our side of the ledger. So not much more to say. MF, take it home. Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and the thing is, the reason why everybody is going for Cleveland is because Pittsburgh absolutely was garbage last week. They got embarrassed, humiliated, and flat out destroyed by the San Francisco 49ers, and it wasn't even close, Anthony. So, yeah, I'm with Cleveland. I think Cleveland wins. So, nothing more to say, Anthony. Let's put a bow on it.
All right, MF, and that's exactly what we will do. That will indeed put the bow on this Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. We'll be back with you tomorrow night over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, 10:30 tomorrow night for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown. You will not believe what happened on Friday night SmackDown tonight. We are going to have a lot to say about it.
This might be the best SmackDown of all time. Like, this might be the best SmackDown of all time, but we'll like we said, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Especially the opening segment alone.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's the spoiler right there. Friday night SmackDown, and we will also have AEW Collision on top of that. Monday night, we do it all again, Ridiculously Raw, right here on the Tone 25. Monday Night Raw, along with the return of my normal Tony's Take, my recap of Week 1 of Impact 1000. Notice it's a two week affair, so it's a week. I'll have my thoughts on the first week's show, as well as NXT Level Up, and then Wednesday Night Madness. MF will have that, NXT, and of course AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, Arthur Ashe Stadium. Let's go, guys! And on top of that, we preview the next Thursday night football matchup featuring the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers. Thursday night, we got college football Thursday, Week 4. Smorgasbord Saturday, we're calling it for next week. Not tomorrow, next week. We got so many incredible matchups. Can't wait to dive into all that. And then next week, here on TXN Sports World NFL Friday, it's the Week 3 edition. We'll recap the Giants and the Niners. And as far as next week is concerned, not really an exciting week, but we got just to name a few notable games. You got Tennessee and Cleveland. You got Atlanta and Detroit, New Orleans and Green Bay, Chargers and Minnesota, New England and the Jets, Buffalo and Washington, Chicago, Kansas City, Philly and Tampa, Rams, Cincinnati, and a rematch of Super Bowl 56. not really an exciting week next week, but it is what it is. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit Michael Bullock, and of course the First Lady Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday, and until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.